Rain came in silver threads across the windshield as Daniel Mercer drove deeper into the countryside, toward the old Wrenwood house. The locals in the last town had warned him away with the strange smiles country people use when they speak of things they fear too much to name directly. "Haunted," the bartender had whispered, polishing a glass that already gleamed clean. "Beautiful woman walks the halls at night. Men who see her don't come back right afterward, but they always return eventually." Daniel had laughed then, though uneasily. He wrote articles for obscure magazines, stories about abandoned places, folklore, dying towns. Wrenwood House was supposed to be another assignment, another mold-eaten skeleton of history dressed up in superstition. Yet as he reached the rusted iron gate and saw the mansion looming beyond the dead trees, his confidence dimmed. The house stood like a corpse left upright by rigor mortis. Tall black windows stared sightlessly over the hill. Ivy crawled across the brick walls like veins beneath pale skin. The storm clouds overhead pressed low enough to touch the roof peaks. Daniel parked beside a crumbling fountain and stepped out into cold rain. The air smelled wrong. Not rot, not mildew. Lilacs. Fresh lilacs blooming impossibly in the middle of November. He climbed the front steps. The massive oak door groaned open at the slightest touch, as though the house had been waiting for him. Inside, darkness pulled thickly in the corners. His flashlight beam slid across dusty portraits and furniture draped in white sheets. The silence felt alive, listening. Daniel swallowed and forced himself onward. "Just a house," he muttered. But his voice sounded muffled, absorbed by the walls. He wandered through the first floor, taking photographs. A grand staircase curved upward into shadow. Water dripped somewhere in the distance with slow, deliberate rhythm. Then he heard music. A piano. Soft and mournful. Daniel froze. The melody drifted from upstairs, impossibly clear. Every instinct screamed at him to leave. Instead, he climbed the staircase. At the end of the upstairs hall stood a half-open door, spilling pale candlelight. The piano music stopped. Daniel pushed the door wider. A woman sat at the piano bench with her back to him. Her hair fell in dark waves down a white dress, untouched by dust or decay. Slim fingers rested motionless above yellowed ivory keys. "You took your time," she said softly. Daniel's mouth went dry. I didn't know anyone lived here." She turned then. Beautiful was too small a word. Her face possessed a sad elegance untouched by time. Pale skin glowed faintly in the candlelight. Her eyes were deep gray, like storm clouds before snow. But there was something wrong about her beauty. It was too perfect, too still, like a portrait pretending to breathe. "You came because you were curious," she said. "They always do." Daniel forced a nervous laugh. "You're the ghost?" A faint smile touched her lips. "That is what they call me." The room had grown colder. Daniel could see his own breath now. "You're not frightened enough," she observed. "I'm trying not to be." "You should be." The candles flickered violently. For an instant, her face changed. Not much, just enough. The skin tightened over her cheekbones. Her eyes darkened into empty hollows. Her lips became thin and bluish with death. Then she was beautiful again. Daniel stumbled backwards. "What are you?" Her expression saddened. "I was Evelyn Wren. This was my home once." She rose gracefully from the bench. "Now it is my grave." Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the room in stark white. For a heartbeat, Daniel saw dozens of shadowy figures standing silently around the walls. The darkness returned, and they were gone. Daniel's pulse hammered. "I should leave." "You could," Evelyn replied. "But loneliness is a terrible thing." She moved closer soundlessly, her dress whispering across the floorboards. The scent of lilacs grew stronger around her. "I have waited here so long," she murmured. "Years blur together. Seasons die. The world forgets you." Her gray eyes fixed onto his with unbearable intensity. "But when someone enters this house, for a little while, I am no longer alone." Daniel felt a strange pull then, warm and dangerous. The house no longer seemed frightening. The storm outside sounded distant. Yes, Evelyn's voice wrapped around him like velvet in darkness. He imagined staying, just for one night, talking beside candlelight while rain whispered at the windows, letting the outside world disappear. Evelyn lifted a cold hand to his cheek. "You're tired," she whispered. "I can feel it in you. Tired of noise, tired of disappointment. Stay here with me." Daniel closed his eyes. For one horrible second, he wanted to say yes. Then he noticed the piano. Dust covered everything in the room except the bench where she sat, except the floor behind it. Deep grooves scarred the wood there as if fingernails had clawed desperately against it. And suddenly Daniel understood. This house was not lonely. It was hungry. He jerked away from her touch. "No!" The word echoed sharply. Evelyn stared at him. "I can't stay." The sadness on her face deepened. Not anger, not yet, but grief ancient enough to rot into something terrible. "You will leave me again," she said quietly. Daniel backed towards the door. "I'm sorry." Her expression began to unravel. The beauty remained, but something beneath it shifted and writhed like worms beneath silk. Candles extinguished one by one. Darkness flooded the room. When Evelyn spoke again, her voice came from everywhere at once. "Everyone leaves." The walls groaned violently. The shadowy figures reappeared around him, men and women with pale, dead faces and empty eyes. Their mouths hung open in silent screams. Daniel ran. The hallway stretched impossibly long behind him. Doors slammed shut. Whispering voices hissed from the walls. "Stay, stay with her." He thundered down the staircase as icy fingers brushed his neck. The front door burst open beneath his weight as he stumbled into the storm. Behind him, Evelyn stood in the upstairs window. Rain passed through her unmoving form. For a moment, she looked heartbreakingly human again. Daniel climbed into his car and sped down the winding road without looking back. Only when the house vanished behind the trees did he finally breathe. He told himself he would never return. Years later, long after age silvered his hair and illness hollowed his body, Daniel would still dream of her, the scent of lilacs, gray eyes waiting in candlelight, the terrible ache of loneliness inside that ancient house, and far away, within the rotting walls of Wrenwood, Evelyn watched the years pass with patient silence. The dead understood time differently. One evening, as winter wind sighed through broken windows, she stood beside the dusty piano and smiled faintly to herself. He had refused her once, but mortality was only temporary. Soon enough, Daniel Mercer would belong to the grave as she did. Soon enough, he would come home, and this time, he would never leave again.